Hey everyone, and welcome to the Afro Rooted podcast. I'm Agazi, joined again with Ew and Kana. And today we're talking about Benni McCarthy, the man behind Marcus Rashford's amazing revitalized season. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I see you, Kana. Ew, do real quick. Nobody will care. Nobody will care. So, who is Benni McCarthy, and why should we care about him? You know, I haven't known too much about him, but Kana, tell me about this guy. Do you know much about him yourself?
Benni McCarthy, man, he's the best South African player that ever lived. Legend in the game, you know, as a player at least. Played for, you know, big clubs like Ajax, FC Porto, you know, Mourinho's Porto, the famous Porto that won the Champions League. So if you don't know about Benni McCarthy and you're an Afro
even better than Steven Pienaar, Everton legend.
Oh yeah, 100%, man, 100%. McCarthy is a legend. He also, our Premier League fans would know about him from his days at Blackburn Rovers, and I know he didn't have a great spell at West Ham, but he also played for West Ham. So yeah, man, he's one of the legends of the game from Cape Town, South Africa, man.
Oh, nice. All right, but then okay, so he comes to Manchester United. He's part of this kind of new backroom squad, and like, all right, then how did he get into it? Like, how does someone? I mean, okay, I've never heard him as a coach or assistant coach. How do you get into it then?
Yeah, bro. To be honest with you, similar to kind of like I kind of had heard about him. I didn't know much about him. And then now when we started doing more research into who Benni McCarthy is, turns out he actually, after he retired as a football player, he started getting into coaching in South Africa, I think. No, that's right?
Yes. Yeah.
And then he actually ended up winning the MTN Cup with his team. I think it was Cape Town.
With Amazulu, I think he
Amazulu,
won
yeah, exactly.
No, sorry, you're right.
Yeah.
He won the MTN with Cape Town.
Yeah.
But he took Amazulu to their second place, like which is the highest they've ever achieved in the South African league.
Yeah, so like he had already began his managing coaching journey, and then Ten Hag last season, I think he kind of figured that he had too many like midfielders and defenders in his coaching staff, like people who would, while they were playing in the game, they didn't have enough like striking coach talent. So he reached out to the snake Robin van Persie, and he was like, "Yo, I need you on my team," you know. So
yeah.
And then the snake that he is, Robin van Persie, refused that offer because he wanted to stay where he was in Holland. And then I think what's his name? Benni McCarthy's agent reached out to Ten Hag after hearing this. He was like, "Yo, I think I might have the guy for you." And it turns out that, bro, he is that guy. Like he's come in and he's made a huge impact for Man United's front three and their attacking form. Like, bro, it's night and day. Rashford, like, he looks like a completely different person. I remember at one point Arsenal was being linked to Rashford, and I thought that was like the most like that would have been daylight robbery having Rashford leave United to join Arsenal at that point. Because if you look at him now, he's like.
It seems like you want revenge for Van Persie, man. You keep naming a snake. Now you want to take Rashford away?
Bro, I'm not going to lie. Like, imagine Rashford on this team, bro. Imagine instead of... Bro. I'm not going to lie. Like, it would have been dangerous. Because under Arteta's management, the way he treats wingers and the way he develops wingers, I think that would have been the perfect fit. But thanks to Benni McCarthy, who is very quickly becoming one of the best African coaches and managers around. Rashford has become one of the most informed strikers or wingers or forwards in Europe. So really interesting to see the way he's been developing Man U's talent, forward talent.
Yeah, to add to your point, like I feel like what makes Benni McCarthy special, you know, obviously, like you said, Ten Hag brought him on because he felt like he needed Man United to be a more balanced team, right? Like, so having that attacking point of view was important for him. He wasn't first choice, and they kind of gave him a trial before taking him on full time, right? Like they saw him how he dealt with like the youth team. He had a couple of sessions, I guess, with the first team, and then they fell in love with him right away. And something that kept coming up when we were doing this research is that when he signed up for when Man United like opportunity was available, he didn't even ask for the salary. He said, like, you know, I'm on it. Like, you know what I mean?
Crazy.
It
He
shows
was
you
like,
that.
give me that. Give me
you know,
that.
he's
job.
ready
I
to
know
go
what I
for
can
it.
do.
It's okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm coming. I've already
I feel like that says volumes in terms of character, right?
Yeah.
You know why he's there. Like I feel like
He's
you know,
gonna.
he's
like,
there.
He has faith in himself. He's like, I'll take over. Don't worry. Just like get me on
100%.
first. Like, and they are providing him that platform to shine, and he's also doing the business as well. So dope to see.
And he's
man.
taking it. You know, it's like there was a lot of a lot of people questioning him as a coach. You know, he's not experienced enough. Like, what is he going to add to this team? So he's just shutting everybody up. I feel like in the future, like if anything, you know, he could ask for a raise later, but he's doing an amazing job in terms of like his character, and you could see that almost spilling over to Rashford's, right? And you can see how Garnacho right now is developing because he's also working with the youth players. He's giving him confidence, you know.
I think he's done a good job, you know. You know, obviously it can be tough with getting a full group of new coaches, but everyone's settled in really quickly, and you know it's always good for the forwards to have you know, a particular coach that concentrates on us as a forward group. And yeah, I feel like since Benny's come in, we've worked more as a team going forward, which has led to us creating more chances and to us scoring more goals. So you know, it's still early days, and you know, Benny will tell you himself his aspirations are much bigger than what we've done so far. But you know, he keeps pushing us, keeps trying to get us to improve, and yeah, you can't ask for anything more than that as a player.
So let me ask you guys this question. So there are kind of players like, okay, Benni McCarthy's a little bit older, but we see the likes of Kolo Toure who just who had the chance at Wigan, and unfortunately he got fired. But also Yaya Toure as well is also kind of getting into coaching. Is it how do we feel about seeing these next wave of, you know, African footballers turn coaches? Especially this is the generation of like more recent time who just probably retired the last few years, you know, that maybe our generation kind of remembers him. How do you guys feel about this new crop of like young like African former players turning coaches, managers now?
I mean, it's a great thing to see, right? That's what we dream about it as Afro-rooted, you know, like as African football fans, is seeing these sort of players that we grew up seeing. Like these were, I don't want to say the first, but like they were like that generation of like footballers, like you said, like the Yaya Toures, the Eto'os. Like that's when like African football really started to shine, right? You had the Roger Milas and stuff back in the day, but I feel like African football like coming to the forefront was like more after these guys came in. Like that's when African football arrived in a sense. And I feel like now that generation is getting older, we're seeing like, you know, they're naturally becoming coaches. You know, they're involved in national team like federations and all that. So I feel like we're seeing something new in terms of like you know, for African football. This is the next step, and I'm excited to see what they will bring in that role. You know, and like you said, like Kolo Toure didn't succeed right now, but we're all seeing like kind of they're trying to find their niche. Like they're developing. They're trying out new things. So it's great to see, man.
Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
No, but let me lead you on to let me ask you this next one that you. So let's talk about then. Let's transition into international football when it comes to South African national team. The last time I probably remember watching them was maybe a few qualifiers, but also the 2010 World Cup. And even before that, it was 98. These guys, you know, to me it feels like they have everything. They have the infrastructure. They have a decent league, even a great climate, but they just don't seem to kind of make the cut. Let alone for a World Cup, but even for AFCON. You know, I mean, it's only been a few months, but you know, there's been a few talks, a few whispers. Benni McCarthy coming back to be the manager of the national team. Are we getting too excited? Should we just kind of wait, or should he kind of already like jump ship?
That's a really good. I feel like that would be the dream job for him, honestly, to take that
job,
South Africa role, dude. I haven't really heard much of him speaking about where he would like to go, but I'm sure he's really quickly becoming one of the one of the most sought after African coaches around, because again, like, he's consistently being mentioned as one of the guys that's been making the biggest impact for United's attacking team, and he has that background of actually managing or taking on roles as like the head coach of different teams. So really sick to see. For me personally, I think he's probably going to take a bit more time. Being a coach in this United team where you're seeing all of the right things, under Ten Hag's management, they're almost 100% sure to qualify for the Champions League. So, and then they're also going to be bringing in, I'm sure, a lot of top talents, especially like, imagine Benni McCarthy coaching Victor Osimhen to compete with Haaland and Kane Kane is probably going to leave Tottenham. That's another conversation. But Osimhen competing with Gabriel Jesus and Haaland for the Golden Boot next season. Imagine, that would be like a dream come true for every football fan. So I would like to see him stay for a bit and kind of develop, the portfolio of developing talent, like
I think you hit it spot on, man. Because don't forget, he also refused a job as the national team coach because he felt he wasn't ready.
What?
Because
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little.
So they had approached him, and then he didn't take it. He actually, I think I don't know between exactly when it was. Might have been between the two roles as he had from Cape Town or Amazulu, but he turned that offer down, and I feel like that was the best decision he has done, because with the experience he had, maybe it was not the right time for him to take it. Like, it's going to be much more impactful him taking that job like later on than now. So props to him. I feel like he's not in a rush. Like, I feel like he has his head straight on like his development, and I want to see him grow from this.
So I think he turned down the job in November 2019.
2019, okay.
Yeah.
And to address Agazi's point too, like you said, like how you talked about how South Africa has this, they have all the infrastructure they need. Like, money is not necessarily a big issue in terms of like, supporting their national team and stuff. But also one thing to consider is that like football is not the only big sport in South Africa. I feel like that has something to do with it too. Cause I feel like the rugby, like the Springboks win the World Cups and stuff like that. So it's like that's a much larger team, right? Like you're competing World Cup in that sport. But they still have a huge following in terms of football. But maybe that's something to look into. They also play cricket in South Africa, right? So, but the women's national team is doing great.
Yeah,
they won the AFCON, so it's like. I feel like that's what they got that going for them, at least in the football world, is the women's national team.
No, you're right. They're rating World Cup champions, and there's another World Cup at the end of the year in France. They're kind of getting ready. Well, we'll have a rugby corner chat later, but you're right. You can look at the women's team, and they just they beat Morocco, and they're able to kind of take the trophy, but for AFCON. But I don't want to go off too far and everything, but South Africa just seems like it's one of those teams that just, they kind of have everything in place and a very good setup, but maybe just like the coaching, the management, the players. I don't know. Kind of like Team USA, where like
even
they have more money than most of the teams in Europe, but even they kind of like, I don't know what it is that they're lacking. Actually, we kind of know for America why. We won't go into that one, but yeah.
Yeah, if you see remember World Cup 2010, I think they had a Brazilian coach, right? Because that's what was his name?
Brazilian coach,
the Brazilian coach. Right? Yeah, so all these things that these kind of this kind of mentality has to change in African football, and I feel like, which brings us to our point of coaches, right? And
But we are
maybe
seeing
not
that,
having
though.
this person. We are
feel
seeing
like.
it, but
I
not
think we are
just
seeing
not
it,
in
yeah.
that part of Africa. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know, because it's gonna take time for that to kind of take full effect on the whole continent. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we're seeing it more and more. I mean, Chris Hughton, which was our latest episode, isn't necessarily like Ghanaian born. He wasn't born in Ghana, but he has
Go check that out, by the way, if you haven't.
Yeah, check the episode out if you haven't watched it. And if you have watched it, comment down below. Big man Chris. But no, it's good to see, like with Aliou Cisse and Walid Regragui, all of these different countries actually. The managers at the end of the day, they actually do deserve. They've earned that spot as the head coach of these national teams because they have that CV of actually working with, like Walid Regragui won the African Champions League before he got that job, right? So they're earning their spot before, so they're getting that experience, right? So that's what I would like to see from Benni McCarthy as well is him continuing to do the work that he's doing, because he seems like he's actually doing a really good job, and then hopefully he'll move on to the next step where he'll actually take on a managerial role, but all in the right time. Would be my hope.
No, that's the same thing for me as well. I definitely hope Benni McCarthy. I kind of want him to go, and hopefully, kind of keeps it going for us. But yeah, on that note, thank you guys for another great, lovely episode. Thanks again for everyone for joining in and checking us out. Please don't forget to make sure and watch our Chris Hughton episode as well, the new Ghana Black Stars manager. So we're excited for him as well. So yeah, guys, thank you guys as always for joining another great episode. And until next time.